In general, hiring and the whole assessment and interview process, it's pretty hard. The more you do it and the more you see the outcome of those that you hired, the better off you are at it. There are so many things an applicant can say that really make me not want to hire them. The first thing is immediately asking about compensation. Why do I dislike that? It makes me think that you only have an interest in money. Now, why is an entrepreneur saying don't be interested in money? I'm not. I just don't think that's the first card that you lay down on the table. It's also an impossible question to answer right away because I have no idea if I even like you, if I want to hire you, if you are hireable, or if I should even be continuing this conversation. Leading with asking about money and making that the primary driver as to whether or not you're interested in an opportunity is not something that is going to get you in a great place with employers. And if you are hiring, it is certainly something that you should notice right away. Why? What's going to happen when that person gets offered a job for a couple dollars more? Are you out of luck there? You probably will be.
I think something that can disqualify an applicant would be some of the typical red flags, like never making eye contact or not coming presentable for the interview, not taking it seriously. Maybe they're late, maybe they haven't prepared any questions for us. I think that's a red flag to me. Like most applicants should have a couple of questions about where they're going to work as well. Some of those things, but for the most part, I'm just there seeing how bad they want it.
Something a job applicant could say in the interview that immediately disqualifies them, like right off the bat, are, do you drug test? Do we work 5 days a week? Can I work remotely after the first month? Don't disqualify yourself by asking for things that are unnecessary.
It drives me crazy when people show up to interviews and all they have to say is bad stuff about the places and the companies that they worked before. Why are you going to say anything different if you leave my company? That is a huge red flag. Sometimes there are legitimate gripes, but when all they're doing is trashing everybody they worked with, everybody they've worked for, and all of the opportunities they've had in the past, it's not a good sign. That is probably going to end up being a high maintenance employee that will end up saying terrible things about you later, regardless of how well you handle their employment or the opportunities that they're given.
So on the opposite of that, something an applicant can do that does get my attention is, being on time, maybe business dress to an interview would get my attention. Them having questions prepared or them having done research on our company to know some of our background and the details of the company. So I think these are like, job interviews 101, but those are the things I'm looking for. Are they sharp? Are they paying attention to detail? How do they look? How do they present? That's important for me in an interview.
The best questions are related to culture. Like, what's it like working here? What will I do here? Who will I work with? Who does the company provide services for? What do we manufacture? These are meaningful questions that an applicant's asking that get down to the nuts and bolts of what you do. Those are smart questions. That's someone that is looking for something that they're interested in doing and most likely will do a better job at it for that reason.
I want to see a interviewee ask thought-provoking type questions, something that goes deeper beyond what we're talking about, that's engaging, that shows me they're passionate about the work that we're trying to do, and that they are fully invested in wanting to be involved in the work and culture that you're trying to build as a entrepreneur in a small business.
I think I want them to ask like some of the details, like, you know, the things that are quality of life, like how much time off do they get? Are they able to travel and work remote? I want them to ask about the perks that we have, because I'm proud of them and I think it's a huge selling point. So it means that they're interested in those. You know, I want them to ask about the culture as much as I want them to ask about the job. Like, what will my day be like? You know, how big is my team? Some of those just like, they're excited to be there type questions.
I will tell you how an applicant got my attention. They hopped on my live feed, somebody that I had interviewed, hopped on our live feed, commented, and then followed all our social media handles. And other people who applied didn't do that. This one did. So they went above and beyond what was asked and expected of them. I did want the assessment done, and I did give them the color brand and the color schemes, that sort of stuff. But they took it upon themselves, and now mind you, these people are in the Philippines, so they took it upon themselves to get up a little bit earlier, show up, and do their own form of research. I thought that was dope.
Some questions we would ask in our interview. I would ask them why they want to work at Marknology. I would ask them where they see themselves in 5 years. I would ask them what they would do if they were faced with a problem and didn't know the answer. I'd like to see how they problem solve. I ask about their last job. I ask about their best job. I ask about their family situation, what's going on. Like, you know, does your family live here? I like to get to know them a little bit. So ask them about hobbies. I tell them what we do at Marknology, and sometimes that brings up questions. I really just like to try to have dialogue and see them try to relax and be themselves, and you know, really try to gauge how the interview is going from that, as well as any of the specific responses that they have.
During our interviews, you know, we ask questions like, what do you know about the cannabis industry? What do you know about the cannabis plant? What do you know about the endocannabinoid system? Because so much of the type of job that we are hiring for, or will be hiring for, is educational. We want to know what you already know. You know, do you already have a background in this? Are you capable of just jumping in day one, or do you have to be taught all over from the beginning? That's a very important piece.
What are some questions to ask when I'm interviewing? This is to me, this is interesting, right? Because yeah, I want to know a little bit about your background. I want to know a little bit about your history, but I want to know more about you, right? I want to know what you're up to, and I want to know how you are going to help me in my business. So I want to know if you've done any homework on me. Do you know what we do? Do you know what we sell? Do you know when our show airs? Do you know how many episodes we have? Like, I want to know how much you know about me, because if you're going to come work for me, then you should probably have done a little bit of homework. If you didn't, if you're just applying for the job, to me that kind of says you're going to do the bare minimum. That might not be something I want to work with, right? I want to grow with people. I want to help people get a position, and then we grow together. We build this thing to something that's, you know, gigantic, enormous, and I can take you on the road with me. Yes, you're an employee. Yes, you get paid by the hour. But it doesn't mean that if we don't work together, we can't make something spectacular.
There are a lot of good rules of thumb to follow when hiring your employees. First and foremost, are they passionate about the work that you're doing? Secondly, be real with them. You have to be honest. Tell them what you expect out of them in your position. Ask them questions and see how they react. See how they answer.
Our hiring process, for the most part, has been someone gets referred, and then I have an interview with them, or Veronica has an interview with them, depending on what team they're looking to join. And then whoever takes that first interview, we might have a second interview. It's not always the case, but we also kind of hire by committee. So we have meetings about it internally. with leadership as well as individual staff that aren't management. We all talk about it because we want to find people that are a good fit for the team.
Our hiring process starts with recruitment. We have a belief that the best people probably already have a job somewhere else. So we get to work trying to recruit them through a number of different ways. Sometimes it's personal outreach, employment ads, and then the top source of incoming employees and applicants is our own employees referring people that they know. So we have 40 different assessments that we use. We've created these ourselves, and this is to help us understand a technical applicant. Preferably, we're looking for someone that's in the top 10%. By using the technical assessments, we actually screen a lot of candidates out of the mix. And that's important because there is really no point in spending a lot of time interviewing people and getting to know them to then find out they don't meet the technical skill level for the tech company that we run.
At the end of the day, I'm going off of gut, and I think that's the best way to go. And you can have several conversations with them, and especially if they're coming referred from someone else, that goes a long way. And then just making a gut decision. Obviously experience matters. If we think they're going to be a failure in the position, we're not going to present them the job. But if they feel like they can do the job and we feel like they can do the job, it's not really what's on the paper. It's kind of what happened in that interview. Are we aligned as a company and an applicant?
This comes down to just a gut feeling, honestly. If I'm hiring or if I interview 3 different people and all of them have unique resumes that are similar to each other, I'm just going to go with a gut feeling. I'm going to go with whoever I feel is going to be the best fit culturally and the easiest person to be able to work with.
When it comes to assessing an employee, and if they've made it through the technical part of our assessments, we want to begin looking at a number of different qualities. Just because you know how to write code or do the technical part of the job doesn't mean you're good at anything else. You might be terrible at communication. You might have a bad attitude. You might not be able to speak the language that our clients speak. That is just the beginning of a list of a number of intangible qualities that we look for in a software developer. Those skills include industry experience, software development experience, communication, attitude, likability, marketability, passion, versatility, leadership, problem solving, and critical thinking.
Bouncy to the left, follow me now, bouncy to the right. Like me cellular phone, follow them and skank it all night. Hold me gal and why not kill me, make she excite. Everybody move them body, red, green and the light.